Okay, hello everybody. How you doing? Back with another video, and it's going to be about predicting the future. Don't you know we're a psychic channel? No. I kind of said it in the preview. We all do this. We always think about, or we put ourselves in hypothetical situations, hypothetical scenarios. Sometimes we'll see something, whether it be on the news, although I don't really watch the news, or we'll be in conversation. Someone will have gone through something, or someone will just flat out ask, what would you do if you were in that situation? What would you do if you were in my shoes? And when we give an answer, we mean well. But the problem is, a lot of times we feel so sure about what we would do given that scenario. Oh, I would do this. I would do that. And again, well-meaning, could be a little bit of, too much self-assurance in there, but the point is it's coming from a good place usually, okay? And, or they would, you see something like I said, and you just blurt it out. Oh, if that were me, I would do this. I would do that. Or if I was confronted with so-and-so, I would, whatever. And again, all well and good, but you got to realize that, and I say, God forbid, if it's a negative thing, God forbid if it's a bad thing or if it's a good thing and, God willing, right? That kind of stuff, those phrases. You're in those scenarios, again, good, bad, or indifferent. You only know then what you're going to do. You could have, and this goes back to when I was giving the analogy about being on a vacation and, following your itinerary to a T without allowing new things in or being flexible, sort of along those lines, You don't really know what you're going to do until it happens. You from an ego perspective, and I'm not one of these people that knocks the ego down or that this is the ego, because you need the ego. You wouldn't be living in this dimension on this planet without one. You need one. It was given to you for a reason, okay? The thing is that, I got to remember to look up here. The thing is that, again, coming from a good place, certain roads are paved with good intentions, though, right? But you're coming from a good place when you say, I know what I'm going to do, but only until either God willing or God forbid or whatever, you're in that scenario, will you truly know what you would do? Because, see, we have, like I've been saying, we have a higher self, a true self that really knows what would happen. Now, there are times we go against it, we freeze, and we don't do what feels natural without harming others, of course. But we don't do what feels natural, unless, of course, I know a lot of times we put ourselves in, or we find ourselves in situations where self-defense is required. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like, you don't do what feels natural because you're second-guessing yourself. You're not trusting your gut, your instincts. And you get that tension. You do what the ego says to do, or the inflated ego says to do, because you're afraid of how you might look if you don't. Instead of following your tuition, was this college? Your intuition, you don't know what you're going to, you don't do what you should be doing because your lower self is like, that wouldn't look too good if I did that. What will people think of me if I did that? Then you somehow analyze it to death before you actually do whatever it is you do. And your true self may not agree. Or on the other spectrum, you're in a situation, I don't want to say you put yourself in it, but you find yourself in a situation where you think you know exactly what you're going to do, but from a lower perspective. Your true self says, oh yeah, watch me. And then you wind up doing something else. And it usually turns out Most of the time it turns out better. Usually it does because our higher self is out for our best interest no matter what. You know. And, I don't want to give specific scenarios. I don't want to get too technical. I don't want to get too descriptive, but you kind of get the gist. Oh, I would do this. Given this scenario, I would do this. You don't know until you're in it. You don't know until you're in it. Because your higher self, your true self, the one that's in tune with source, may not agree. May not agree. You know what I mean? And again, that is what has your best interest and others' best interest at heart in the long run. Okay? So we got to be a little, I'm not saying it's wrong to have those conversations or to speculate what you would do, but you got to be a little more, I think we all need to be a little more humble when it comes to making predictions. When we take out that crystal ball, there's a crack in it. Okay? It's never what it looks like. Because, and again, I kind of said this in the preview, one of the main reasons for that is you are predicting your future in that scenario in a vacuum. You're not taking into account all the other scenarios around it. Let's say you're in a, God forbid again, there's a life-threatening situation. And you say, I would do this. I wouldn't hesitate. Yeah, but you guys see what's going on around you. Who else is involved? And, you may, from an ego perspective, do something in that scenario that you regret later. Or, whether it be because you still wind up getting harmed or somebody else gets harmed, instead of following the higher self, the one that we, the one that we are not conscious of. I mean, even if we're aware that it exists, it's really in the back of our mind and our subconscious. That's really, looking out for our best interest, not the lower vibrational, parts of us, if that makes any sense. So again, when you say, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is I hope I'm making my point, getting my point across. When you say, oh, in that situation, I would do this, in that situation, I would do that, it's okay, just be a little more humble. We all need to be, because we really don't know until either God forbid or God willing or somewhere in between, until the time comes. Because at the end, that's what has our best interest at heart. Take care.